If there is one thing that can be said about Jake Paul's history in the spotlight, is that he's been one of the most consistently polarizing figures on YouTube. From Disney cringe,
thanks for watching, Dareheads,
to YouTube cringe,
selling like a god church,
to scamming his fans, to boxing, and right back to scamming his fans again. Jake Paul has been providing a never-ending flow of material to his critics for years now, but recently it looks like he's been actively trying to switch up his brand and step out of controversy. Has he been successful though? Spoiler alert, the answer is no, but his progression over the past year is no less worthy of taking a look at. Before we dive into it though, I want to take a quick moment to talk about our sponsor for today, the Battle Cats. In the world of the Battle Cats, you are the leader of a mighty feline army with the ultimate purpose of conquering various lands and defending your tower from all kinds of bizarre looking enemies. You get to slowly build your team by discovering unique types of cats, starting with the normal cat or the wall cat, progressing with the likes of the flamenco cat or the angry delinquent cat. Just look at how angry he is, oh my god. You also have the uber super rare cats, such as the berserker cat or the unknown cat, all of them entirely different from one another, both in aspect as well as in their abilities. The way the game works is that you start out with an amount of in-game currency up here in the top left corner, and you spend it on the lineup of cats you've chosen to summon for the offense. By the way, this is not real money, the game is literally free to play, so don't worry about that. Now you're gonna want to use that credit to upgrade your level using the worker cat down here, so that your credit limit for the stage increases and you become able to deploy more powerful cats at a faster rate. Also, if you feel overwhelmed, you'll be able to use the cat cannon to blast back your enemies and gain some extra momentum. As you play the game, you'll start accumulating cat capsules that you can open up and potentially unlock new types of cats to go to battle with and conquer the world. If you want to try it out, download the Battle Cats for iOS and Android for free using my custom link in the description, and if you log into the Battle Cats app soon, you'll be able to collect free Christmas gifts and other awesome year's end rewards, so make sure to not miss out on the mighty holiday heroes that you're gonna find at the capsule machine. Once you start playing, you'll probably never get bored of this game because there's so much going on, so many levels and characters to explore, so a big thank you to the Battle Cats for sponsoring the channel. Now let's get back into the video. Although this is a video on Jake Paul's scammy endeavors, I think it's also relevant to mention his progression in the world of boxing. After recently defeating Tyron Woodley for the second time on December 18th and securing his 5th straight win in his career as a professional boxer, I think it's safe to say that he's been starting to get taken a lot more seriously within the boxing industry. One thing that I think is fair to acknowledge is that he does seem to understand his position within the sport, and he's using it in a way that benefits other fighters as well. In August of 2021, he made the deliberate choice to lower his own paycheck so that every other fighter on the card would get higher compensation. He also insisted that Amanda Serrano's fight would be featured as a co-main event and not just another bout on the undercard. Then in September, he signed Amanda Serrano, one of the very top female fighters at the moment, by the way, to his boxing promotion company, further proving that his vision for boxing is focused on the long term. So in terms of boxing, Jake Paul is continuing to push boundaries and solidifying his image step by step. Choosing to ignore all of this, I think, would be unfair to him, so hats off to him on that front. But then he turns around and does something stupid to remind everybody that he's the same old Jake Paul underneath it all. In early 2021, as Jake Paul was training for his upcoming fight with Ben Askren, this new trend called NFTs was starting to gain traction. And although he had his hands full, his brother, Logan Paul, was dipping his toes into this new market right as NFTs were starting to go mainstream, buying into some of the most popular collections and even releasing his own set of NFTs in February, which, as an artist myself, I find the art style of these cards to be
not worth millions of dollars.
But hey, people consider them to be valuable, therefore they became valuable. It is, after all, a free market. I think it's important to clarify before we go on that an NFT is not a scam by definition. While there is a lot of scamming happening in the currently unregulated blockchain space, I want to emphasize that NFTs are neither good nor bad. They're just a new type of technology, in the same way that a papyrus was in a world of carving writings in stone thousands of years ago. Imagine a group of overly enthusiastic rich dudes in ancient Egypt hyping each other to buy rolls of papyrus risk just because it was something completely new, blind to the nuance of whether they had bought the precious wisdom of lost generations or just a drawing of Tutankhamun's wiener. In the exact same way today, the non-fungible token is nothing more than an innovative medium. What's been happening this year is that people have been mistaking the medium for the illusion of inherent value, and that has opened the door to a lot of shady behavior. People are currently flocking to buy all kinds of NFTs because they happen to be NFTs, ignoring the fact that value comes from whether or not an NFT has some kind of utility, which at this point, very few projects do. Now, while Logan Paul was apparently making millions of dollars selling what I consider to be subpar digital art with little to no utility, Jake Paul was too busy training for his boxing matches, thus unable to keep up with the NFT craze. But it was only a matter of time before he would inevitably take his brother's cue and seek his own fortunes in the world of blockchain digital art. On September 8th, 2021, Jake Paul tweeted out, "Just jumped into this hype and minted my first NFT. Definitely living in a simulation. These devils are clean AF for real. At Sacred Devils NFT, devil emoji." By just looking through the replies to this tweet, which by the way remains up to this day, you can tell quite a few people listened to him and proceeded to buy their own Sacred Devil NFT, proud to be part of the same community as their favorite influencer. But it didn't take long before the larger NFT community on Twitter jumped in to point out the inconsistencies within Jake Paul's announcement. Robsy369 responded with, "Just letting @FTC know that you did not mint this NFT like you said, it was gifted to you. You also did not disclose that you got paid for this advertising. This is fraud." Others, such as Vaultboy Crypto, Kyriel, and Crypto Texan, also pointed out that Jake Paul's public Ethereum address received 40 Ether from the Sacred Devils account, the equivalent of $141,000, the day before promoting them. Fry's Frame also responded with, "Please do your own research and don't listen to like this," which, to be honest, is always a good piece of advice. Unfortunately, even weeks after it had already been proven that Jake Paul was secretly paid to shill the project, people were still buying into it, albeit at a slowly decreasing pace. Since September, the collection has sold a total volume of 348 Ether, the current equivalent of $1.5 million. A Sacred Devil NFT right now is essentially worthless, while presumably most of the $1.5 million was suckered out of Jake Paul's gullible fans. If you look at his Twitter feed today, Jake Paul continues to shill obscure tokens on an almost daily basis. Yo, @Shiryo Inu is about to hit as hard as me hitting Fury on the 18th. Shiryo Inu is a blockchain trading card game with a doxed team and some of the sickest art I've seen. Buy on Uniswap, hashtag blah blah blah, hashtag whatever, hashtag ad. At least he's disclosing the fact that he's getting paid nowadays. But how is this the sickest art you've ever seen? If we scroll down a bit, I've been wanting to say this for a while. Kiba could be the next Shiba. Glad to be with the fam. Again, he's acting like he's with the fam, when in all likelihood he quite possibly took his bag and has already run towards his next opportunity. One of the replies to this tweet perfectly illustrates this cycle. "Jake, I'm a fan of yours, but you've said this about the MILF token and other tokens that have completely flopped. You continue to do this over and over again, and when a token flops, you don't talk about it. What do you get from doing stunts like this?" There's an obvious trail of rinsing and repeating happening over here, and even the fans that have continued to support Jake Paul despite his track record seem to be getting fed up with it. Now, do I think this video will single-handedly change Jake Paul's behavior? Of course not, but at the very least, it will stand as a cautionary tale to people like @CombatKing02 over here, who might learn to avoid falling for such scams in the future. There's so many of these types of practices in the space right now, and because of the rapid growth of crypto lately, people haven't had time to catch up on safety practices or ways to discern between what is typically a good project versus one that has been created and promoted specifically to be a quick pump and dump. The biggest indicator that a blockchain project could be a scam, whether it be a token or an NFT collection, is usually that if you hear about it from the likes of Jake Paul, you should probably stay away, or at the very least, read up on it before investing any amount of money. But how do you feel about all of this? NFTs in general, the crypto space, and people like Jake Paul shamelessly ripping off their fans? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you want to continue watching a previous video that I did on the topic of the Save the Kids scam, which in and of itself is a whole nother can of worms, simply hit the link up here in the top left corner. In the video, I go a little more in depth on some of the concepts mentioned here. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.